get my 6 and see if you can hear that strange music coming from nowhere. So guys, I had fully intended on coming up here today and making a video about how this guy, not me, not the guy wearing the shirt, but the guy on the shirt, hide and seek world champion, is a thief. I had the title and everything. It was going to be called Bigfoot Sasquatch Robbed Me Blind. And there's some truth to that, though I now view it through different eyes because of something very mysterious that happened this morning. And it is way too hot to stand out here and tell this story in the sun. So let's go back here in the woods, get some shade, keep our eyes open for him, her, it, or they. Because if we see him today, we're going to thank him, because as the title of this video, as it is now, Bigfoot Sasquatch saved my life today, just now, well, like an hour and a half ago. Get some shade and get back here in a spot where we can have a good backdrop, where you can look behind me. And I'm going to get right to it. Make sure I'm not walking up on a bear or a yellow jacket's nest, because we got plenty of both this year. All right, get my 6. I'll extend the stand for stability. So guys, a lot of you have been watching these videos for a long time, and something happened this morning that hasn't happened in what seems to be months. There's been times I've been making these videos and I'll get like a sudden sharp head pain. It just lasts momentarily. And many of you have said that when that happens, there's like a flash of light just before that. I don't see the light, but I feel the intense pain. So this morning, that happened, and it happened in a very odd way, and it caused a very serendipitous series of events to transpire. Okay, so I was biking this morning. I got up around 6, had my coffee, came outside, split wood for about an hour. Thought, I need to bike. Yesterday was the first day in 3 months that I didn't either bike or run. I don't take days off, but I did yesterday, and that's part of the story too here. It's good. I just feel like energized, rested physically. I'm rested mentally, because this weekend I took 3 days where I didn't write, didn't edit, missed even making videos for a few days. So it's like some long overdue, much needed rest. And I feel so great that this morning, even after splitting wood for an hour, I said, I'm going to go ride 8 miles, do one of my favorite loops for the scenery, not so much just the exercise. So I'm almost done. I'm like 200 yards away from being finished. And the last 200 yards of this particular loop, I come up from over this way. It's straight uphill. And actually it's a hill and a turn. The hill starts directly behind me over the side of this hill that we're looking at here when you're looking back here at getting my 6 o'clock. So, feeling great. The summer heat for now, it's August. It still gets really hot in Virginia in August and September, but it's been very mild lately. There's like no humidity to speak of out here. As long as you're not in the direct sunlight like I was earlier, it's very temperate. It's wonderful to be outside doing anything. But all of a sudden, I thought I saw a deer laying down right over there, but it might be. Let's see. I was scared. It's laying over there listening to me. It's at least something that looks like it might be a deer. So, and I'm hearing that strange music again. It's very faint. I don't have any music or anything playing at my house, and no one's down there. I'm alone right now. My wife and son are out with friends hanging out. It's a work day, pure work day for me. So anyway, I get to the bottom of that hill, 200 yards to go. It's to end my 8-mile loop, and I'm feeling great, not even hot, barely sweating. But then I had that sudden pain that you guys have said you often see accompanied with flashes in these videos. And instantly, the bottoms of both of my feet just cramped up. I got severe cramps in the bottom of both my feet. And I realized instantly I was not going to be able to push up this hill with these cramps. So there happens to be a driveway over there. It's one of those long things that goes up into, a lot of very long private driveways here. You can't even see the houses from the road because they're so far back. So I pull up in the driveway, just right off the road. And then I think, I'm in the middle of this turn down here at the bottom of the hill. And I think, on second thought, I should go about 10 feet up the driveway. So I go about 10 feet up the driveway, and I get off the bike, and I'm stretching my cramps, and I hear a vehicle coming across a bridge. It's just a little bit further back the road, just zipped right over it. This vehicle had to be going 70 miles an hour, and the speed limit out here is 45. And I looked, and it was a crappy old Chevy S10 from the 80s. Panels are different colors and stuff. Trust me, I remembered this vehicle. And that's all I'm going to say. And he came, it was a guy, he was in his late 20s. Coming through there, he had to be doing 70 in a 45. And the right side of his vehicle was off the road. I think he might have been on a cell phone. Didn't realize he was off the road. He's going up the hill around the turn. The berm dropped off sharply, so this caused him to realize he's off the road. So he overcorrects, almost flips his truck going off the other side of the road, but he straightens it out in time and keeps on going up the hill at about 70 miles an hour in a 45-mile speed zone on an old country back road that's so windy and so narrow that, okay, I drive a big Dodge Ram 1500. When I have an SUV or another big truck coming that way, the opposite direction, there's barely enough room for us to squeeze by each other. That's how narrow these roads are. And it occurred to me when I saw that guy that had I not gotten those cramps in my feet, I would have not pulled off the road into that driveway, in which I just instinctively felt like I should move about 10 feet up the driveway. I would have been exactly where that guy came around that turn at 70 miles an hour off the road. I would have been hit and I would have been killed. And as that thought occurred to me, I had another one of those sudden instant headaches, and it's completely gone. And as soon as it is, so are the cramps in my feet. And I hear something and catch movement out of my eye up on top of the hill, which is just the opposite side of where I am right now. And I look up, and it appeared as if a large, dark figure just stuck back behind a tree. So, there's been talk. I don't know. It's funny. I come out and I see what I can see. I look to see what I can find. I don't spend a lot of time Googling Bigfoot, Sasquatch. What does this mean? All this, but I read the comments, and a lot of folks have mentioned that they believe these beings might be sort of tree knock. That these heard like a huff. There's something walking around back here. So, I know the conversation is being had that these things may be fallen angels. I'm kind of inclined to think this may be the case. After what happened this morning, call it serendipity. I heard a very distant howl. But guys, where this happened was right over there. And right back here is where, when we get close, a lot of times those flashes happen. The tree knocks start going crazy. But is it possible that these creatures are fallen angels, and that The potential Bigfoot Sasquatch that may or may not be living in the woods back here behind my house zapped me to cause those cramps, to get me off the road because he, she, it, or they knew that truck was coming up that hill at 70 miles an hour off the berm of the road and that I would be killed if I didn't get off that road. Guys, I've been biking all summer because I just can't run like I used to because of my chronically inflamed lower lumbar. I can run about maybe once a week now, and I try to spread it out sometimes twice a week, but I pay the price for it. So I've been biking because I can get my cardio in without the pounding. And that's never happened. I mean, I've gotten maybe I could feel a cramp coming on, and I could stretch it from not even leaving my seat or stopping, just stretch it out a little bit, it's gone. But I've never had that happen. Blows my mind. So here's why I was going to say Bigfoot Sasquatch is a thief. Bigfoot Sasquatch robbed me blind. And it all kind of and I just read it wrong. I haven't gifted in a while. We started gifting up here about 1.5 years ago. And some folks have said that once you start gifting, you can't stop because they'll start just taking stuff. So a few days back, Friday, and this is why I took 3 very much needed days off from work. And I ended up taking a day off from exercising. And I feel better now than I've felt in a long time. I guess I just go so hard, I'll wear myself down, and I don't even realize it. But we had a bunch of friends come out, not too many. We're staying under the guidelines with this whole COVID-19 stuff, and everybody's under 50, healthy. Most of us are veterans. Several of them are still very actively serving our country, and I can't really say to what capacity. Nobody has any underlying health issues. We exercise, we eat good. We don't sit around sedentary and become unhealthy. But anyway, so I knew they were coming. I was mowing the grass up here at the campground because me and my alpha male buddies like to get together, have a campfire, eat a lot of meat, and solve the world's problems. That's what we do when we get together. These guys were in Iraq the same time I was, but we didn't know each other, and we were all on different bases. It was really amazing. And then one of them was in the Philippines while I was there, and then the other guy was in Afghanistan while me and this other guy was in the Philippines. So these, one's 32, one's 33. People give millennials a bad rap. Trust me, our future is in good hands. If there's a lot of guys like these guys out there, and I have reason to believe they are, they've done more by 30 than the majority of the human race twice and 3 times their age ever will. Great guys. So anyway, I was up here mowing the campground. I'm hearing that music again. I don't know how to explain that, but I'm hearing it. So I had my 50-pound salt block that I got to ward off the demonic spirits that may or may not be up here. I'm hauling it around in my trailer behind my mower while I'm mowing the grass. Well, and one of my buddies shows up, and he's early, and I'm like, oh gosh. He's going to ask me what I'm doing hauling around a 50-pound block of salt. I don't really want to get into this because he's going to be too scared to come up here because they've been up here and seen odd things like the white flashes, and the next morning just this white stuff that looked, I think it was sulfur, all over a wood pile. So I took the block out of the trailer and I put it off to the side of the campground. And I've got physical proof of this. I'm going to show you here in this video. So I'm leaving it there so at least I don't have to, explain that. And if you ask about the trailer, I could be like, well, I was going to get firewood or something. So I go down there. Our other friends show up there early, and I'm thinking in my head the whole time, gosh, how am I going to get back up to the campground and get this 50-pound salt block and remove it so I don't have to tell these guys about what I think might be going on up here, and then they'd be too scared to come back up. Well, Mother Nature seemed to be on my side. It started pouring the rain, and we couldn't come up here and have a fire. And it rained so hard, nobody could leave. So everybody ended up spending the night here at the house, and the back porch flooded. So I thought, well, that bought me a day. Maybe I'll just get up early and go get that salt block before they're up, and they won't see it. Well, it just kept raining. It didn't stop. And so, the next morning, even though I got up early, it was raining so hard, I just didn't even want to come up here. Just rain and rain and rain. I thought, well, they'll leave today. Well, we ended up just solving the world's problems again. We were eating meat on the front porch. And they ended up staying another night. Well, like half of them did. A couple of families left. A couple of them stayed here. I'm like, man, I kind of hope it doesn't stop raining, because if my buddy wants to go up there and have a campfire, he's going to see that salt block and he's going to be like, come on, Virginia Vigilante, what is up with this? Yeah, we have code names. He's Massachusetts Muchacho because he's from Massachusetts. The other guy is from Illinois, so he's the Illinois Illness, and I'm the Virginia Vigilante. These are our code names. So anyway, it rained so hard. And I can't tell you the stuff we talk about because we've signed gag orders and a lot of that. I mean, I can tell you 25 years after a certain former president has passed away. That's when these things expire. But there is something, and it's so ironic because it kind of takes us back to what I was talking about at the beginning of this video. Okay. Thought I heard a growl. And like a distant tree knock. So anyway, the Massachusetts Muchacho told me a really sad story that I hated to hear. He had a friend who was a Marine combat veteran, multiple tours, millennial, who he didn't know him when he was in service, but when the Massachusetts Muchacho got out of the Army, he went to college, and the GI Bill paid for it, and he's now an actual engineer. Brilliant guy. So anyway, his buddy likes to ride motorcycles, and I guess he likes to ride fast. And just a couple of months ago, he was on his motorcycle riding very fast and actually ran into a cyclist, somebody out there riding a bicycle, and both men were killed. And both men were in their early 30s, and both men had wives and children. And I thought, man, that is just so sad. The Massachusetts Muchacho says he doesn't believe drinking was involved, doesn't believe alcohol was a factor, just speed. So, and it's ironic because there's a guy that rides motorcycles down the road from me, and he's got these signs posted in his yard there by the road that say, look twice, save a life. Because you don't always see motorcyclists because they're smaller than what you're just kind of like subconsciously looking for, which is something the size of a car. And so I get that, and I do that. I used to ride motorcycles, but I don't do it anymore because of how cars are so deadly toward them. But I thought, even these motorcycle guys, you need to be looking twice to save a life too, because that guy on a motorcycle took out a guy on a bicycle. So I was thinking about that this morning, thinking I should mention that, just kind of like maybe give a word of caution. And then the thing happened with the truck that almost got me, and I just thought it was so ironic, so serendipitous. So anyway, the rest of our friends finally left, like their third day here, and I thought, well, I'm gonna go up and get that salt block. And it was still raining. I don't think it stopped raining, but I thought, well, I'm just gonna go up here and get it so I can carry it around the property with me. And since it is gone, that's why I've got these little packets. I'm keeping them in my pockets when I go places now. And I want to thank the viewers for commenting about that, because that's where I got the idea. Like so many of the ideas I get from the things I do, I don't need to Google it. I just listen to you guys. So I came up, I laid the salt block just right up here at the edge of the grass of the campground that I had mowed. And look at what is here now. Look. There's no salt block. The salt block is entirely gone. Sat up here for 3 days, and nobody came up here, trust me. It was raining so hard, just so hard for 3 days straight. And then at the end of that third day, I come up, the salt's gone, and the ground there is all brown. And I kind of think maybe that was his, her, it, or their calling sign saying, they took my salt block. But again, so I can't call these potential creatures that may or may not be living out here doing the things they're doing thieves for having taken that salt block, because we were gifting them just right back here. There's a locust tree back here. And I honestly believe him, her, it, or they were involved this morning with what happened that saved my life. So Bigfoot, Sasquatch, if you're here, you're welcome to that salt block if you haven't eaten it all by now or whatever you're doing with it. And I want to thank you if you did indeed zap me and give me feet cramps, which in turn resulted in you saving my life. Thank you, Bigfoot Sasquatch. Thank you very much. And I need to start gifting again. So thanks for being here with me, guys, for another episode of the PBS the Potential Bigfoot Sasquatch Show.